I am getting quite tired of watching Oklahoma in the fourth quarter of a football game do everything in its power to give me a heart attack. Okay? I'm really getting tired of that. I did not need to go through this in the non-conference. I don't know if anybody noticed, but Oklahoma's got Tennessee coming to the crib. Oh my God. Then Oklahoma got to go to Auburn, who might not be no good, but we don't really know. Then there's Texas. Then there's Missouri. There's LSU. There's Ole Miss. There's Alabama. The order, I know, it's not all there for me as I'm reciting it, but they all on the schedule. And that's kind of the point. Ain't none of the names that I just said Tulane, Houston, or Temple. So Tulane, thanks for showing up. Take your little $380,000. Get the hell up out of here. Because you nearly had me putting money in the bag on my squad, and this is this segment everybody love. Everybody love. But it's only funny when it ain't your team. It ain't funny when it is your team. And while I tell you, Oklahoma ever puts money in the bag, we're going to do the segment because that's just what we do. Nobody is safe from the money in the bag segment. I just would not have enjoyed doing it. And I think you can understand why. Because this year, more than any other, it seems, Oklahoma's going to be at the mercy of the quarterback. And I hate saying that because normally that's been a great thing. If Oklahoma is at the mercy of Baker Mayfield, we feel all right about that. At the mercy of Kyler Murray? Yeah, sure. Okay, we can live with that. Jalen Hurts even. Yeah, I'm with that. I could do that. Dylan Gabriel. Yep, absolutely. But here lately, Jackson Arnold is giving me severe Trevor Knight vibes. And Trevor Knight is not Jackson Arnold, and Jackson Arnold damn sure ain't supposed to be no Trevor Knight. Now, let me backdoor this by saying Jackson Arnold was the National Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school. That means he's the best high school football player in the entire country. Usually, when you win that award, it is a harbinger of what's to come. Whoever you decide to go play football for should expect to win a lot of football games. Now, on that score, Jackson Arnold would be right to be like, yo, dog, I'm 3-0 in 2024. But you ain't look good doing it, dog. Like, that's the in this game, we learn what exactly is going to get underneath Jackson Arnold's skin, and it is a pass rush. He is 6 of 16 when people are pressuring him for 6 sacks and a pick 6 where, I swear to you, I'm sitting on the couch and watching this, and I saw Tyler Grubb sit down right beside an Oklahoma receiver, and I said, no, and Jackson threw the damn ball right there because he was scared of what was going to happen to him. Like, it felt like he thought he needed to get rid of the football when really, homie, take the sack. It's fine. It'll be your 4th on the day. You already had 3 in this half. What's one more? You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, whenever something is going well for Oklahoma, it is coming off of his ability to run the football or OU's ability to run the football, and more his ability to run the football because as the extra man, he's actually got some really great wheels. Problem with that is you run in a quarterback. And for those of you that do not know, if that quarterback gets hurt and you got to hand it over, I know many people at Oklahoma think that Michael Hawkins ought to have a job right now. I'm saying he might because Seth Luttrell has apparently made it part of the game plan that Jackson Arnold is going to be running with the football more often than not. And he had over 100 yards rushing in the game, right? He also hasn't had a 300-yard passing performance, hasn't had a 250-yard passing performance all year. And I'm really getting kind of, it does not inspire confidence because while the defense has been good enough for Oklahoma to win the games, we're talking about Jackson Arnold going 17 of 25 for 141 against Temple, and Temple is awful. We're talking about Jackson Arnold going 19 of 39 for 174 with 2 picks and an INT, 3 sacks. And we're talking about 18 of 29 for 169 with a TD and a pick. And he has taken 3 sacks in each game. Now, the other part about this, and I'm sure that there's somebody out there that's already on this, Oklahoma's offensive line is bad. It's not good. 3rd string center, and the left side of the offensive line is a hole. It's not an offensive line over there. It's a hole. And I'm not sure what Bill Bedenbaugh needs to do to fix it, but I know this. James Pierce is coming to town next week with Tennessee. James Pierce is by some measure a top 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, if not the number 1 overall pick. Tim Banks has Tennessee's defense playing lights out to start. So if I am Tim Banks, I'm walking up to James Pierce. And if I'm James Pierce, I'm going to find Tim Banks in his office, and I'm going to say, line me up on the left side of this offensive line and let me go to work, because I'm looking at them like a bacon and egg sandwich. I'm about to eat. I'm hungry. I'm about to eat, because that's what it feels like, man. Meanwhile, the play calling is still not what I like. We calling QB throwback with 6 minutes left in a one-score ball game where it doesn't look like the offense has been able to move the ball to save its life. No. We can't. We not that good. Matter of fact, while I'm doing the top 25 rankings and I'm trying to figure out what to do with Oklahoma, who survives Tulane after surviving Houston, I looked at Michigan today, who ain't got no quarterback to speak of, and I'm going, you know what? That's a fair fight. If Oklahoma and Michigan play right now, it's a fair fight. It's 50-50. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. And that is an awful sign for OU. Michigan, they won a national championship last year. If you're a Michigan fan and you are looking at this season going, found money, I don't care what we do. We won a national title in 2023. I'm not going to judge you for that. Matter of fact, can't say that if Oklahoma were to win a national championship anytime soon that I would not be pointing to the one that I just won going, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Like my play button, right? We getting the play button on the channel coming here. That's national championship. Got one of them. I'm straight. But that said, do subscribe to the channel because we are fastly approaching 107,000 subscribers. And it'd be very cool to get to 110 by the time we get to Tennessee. And you know what? We might, because there are a number of people that show up here for the college football analysis, and I appreciate that. I do. That's what I love to do. I love to talk about the sport as a whole, and I don't buy into the whole unbiased approach, because you get into college football because you got a team. That you're going to try to hide that team because you want to do this job feels asinine to me and disingenuous. That said, because everybody knows Oklahoma is my team, people will show up when Oklahoma takes an embarrassing loss to see what I got to say about it. You know what? I got to eat that. I live with that. That's okay, right? That's where I'm from. That's part of doing business here. That's what it is. However, I have been saying for some time now, I say sometime, since August 31st, that Tennessee is going to come here, and I'm not sure that Oklahoma's got much to say about it. Josh Heupel is going to come loaded for bear for a number of reasons, not the least of which is between Tennessee and Alabama, you've got the third and fourth best teams in the SEC. And what I saw from Alabama, looking like black dynamite out there, explosives on explosives, looking like Bullhorn, getting ready to get into that muscle mass, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, Tennessee's probably going to look to pull out another pelt, because the thing that Tennessee has that Alabama doesn't right now is a ranked win, period, right? Missouri now has a ranked win, right? Do we think that North Carolina State's that good? No. But they beat them when they had a number next to their name on a neutral site. Do we think that Boston College is that good? No. But they went down to Doak Campbell, and they handed Florida State its second ACC loss of the season. We're just 3 games in. That said, Missouri and Tennessee have much more of a claim to the number 4 spot than, say, Alabama or Ole Miss, but that's because of the way the schedule is shaped up, and we didn't expect Boston College to be good. North Carolina State, some of y'all did, some of y'all didn't. I did not. But Tennessee looks good. Tennessee looks great. On the one hand, Oklahoma has done everything it needs to do to win football games. But that's not how we think about these things. We don't think about them in as far as what did Oklahoma do to win the football game, or even what's the final, right? We look at this and we are making a judgment based on what we have seen. Because as I continue to say, our sport is the only one where being undefeated and perfect is not enough. We don't give a damn. We don't care that you run the table undefeated if you played against a schedule that we don't care about. If you run through the schedule undefeated as Tulane, for instance, who gave Kansas State everything they wanted to, we don't care. We're not going to make you a number 1 team. We're not going to make you one of the highest ranked group of 5 champions. We're not going to do that. However, if you are Oklahoma, you do get to adopt the we survived and advanced. You get to do that because look at the schedule. And this time, I'm going to do everybody the service of doing this right. Yeah, Oklahoma won 51-3. against Temple. They won 16-12 against Houston, the only winless team going into this weekend out of the Big 12. And looking at a really good football game, 34-19, that wasn't a really good football game if you're an OU fan at the end. And then we get into the nitty-gritty of what the schedule actually is and why I'm telling you that Oklahoma can survive and advance. Tennessee, top 10 team, maybe top 5 by Sunday's poll. We'll see. I already think that's a quality football team. I think that's one of the 4 best. Alabama's kind of pushing that, right? Auburn, okay. They're not terrible. They're not good. We know Texas is great. We'll see what that game is. That game is always 50-50 no matter what the rankings are. Even Texas fans will tell you this. Both Texas and OU fans don't actually feel good about that game going into it. You got to see the first quarter before you feel anything at all, right? Then South Carolina, who pushed LSU to the brink, and by the way, would have beaten LSU if Lenore Sellers could play in the second half. I firmly believe that. Robbie Ashford is not Lenore Sellers. You know how I know this? Because Lenore Sellers took 175 yards to the house by himself. And because you had to respect his quarterback run game, Rocket Sanders was able to do what he was going to do, and then Beamer ball was in full effect. South Carolina's not an easy win this year. As a matter of fact, that's a midfield team in the SEC and a top 4 team in the ACC or the Big 12. That's how good that program is. That's how good that conference is. Then you got Mississippi. Ole Miss is a monster. And you got to go to Grove for that one. To the Grove, excuse me. It's in Oxford. There's a Grove, Mississippi. But I'm talking about the Grove in Oxford, Mississippi. Then there's Maine, who's going to get $650,000 for a butt kicking. Although, don't you hear me talk about putting no money in the bag in Maine. You see my face. Then you got Missouri, top 10 team. Should be a top 10 team by the time that Oklahoma sees them too, because their schedule is booty. It's gross. And then there's Alabama, who's probably going to be playing for an opportunity to try to represent in the SEC championship game, depending on what they do against Georgia in 2 weeks. Like, that's already the game that we're most looking forward to in a couple of weeks from now. Like, September 28th is going to be a really big deal for everybody. And then LSU to end the season. That's a top 25 team, but one that could absolutely go toe-to-toe with Oklahoma because they're good enough offensively to give us fits. But perhaps R. Mason Thomas shows up in that game too, because if not for R. Mason Thomas and what felt like a gotta-have-it series by the defense, we might be talking about Tulane showing up to absolutely give Oklahoma the what for and the how now, man. It didn't feel good in the least to be an Oklahoma fan watching this game. And it's a game that normally, you know, the last time we played Tulane, it was too close. We didn't like it. And Tulane has really announced itself by how it has played Oklahoma in years past. But on that front, you know, it could be worse. Could be 1-2, for which I would be combusting. I was not happy about Houston last week. Not nearly as upset about Tulane today, but that's because Tulane is a better football team to me. And the defense continues to show some backbone, right? R. Mason Thomas, Ethan Downs, Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman. Woody Washington looked good today. That's a positive. If Oklahoma can fix the offensive line, we got a chance here. I'm not saying it's a great chance. Got a chance here. Fix the offensive line. Find a way to have Jackson Arnold making better decisions. And apparently the thing to do this year is let the offense play complementary defense. That's all I'm asking this year. If we got to do the Iowa thing for a little while until the redshirt freshman figures it out, fine. I'm okay with that. If it's just Jackson Arnold and Taylor Tatum and Javante Barrs and Gavin Sawchuk and Deion Burks, fine. I'm all right with that. I'm fine with that. Just don't give the ball to the other team and give them 6 points. It's Oklahoma. We do not give defensive TDs. We score them.